Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about how to give our lives more meaning. A lot of people want to have meaningful lives. You hear people say, I just want to be happy. What do you want to do with this lifetime, this short life while you're here? I just want to be happy. That's kind of a weak statement. You have to make your statements more powerful than that. Happiness is a byproduct of meaning. So you don't want to be, you want to be happy, but in order to get that happiness, you're going to have to squeeze it out of something. You're going to have to search and go on a path of meaning, of purpose. Find your purpose. One of the ways that we find meaning in our life is through a narrative. You may hear that term in the news a lot, but a narrative for a writer is the plot or the theme of your story, or even of that chapter. The main character in one of the novels that I'm writing a series of novels. I've written two. I'm taking a break from that series to write another book, and when I get done with this book, I'll go back and write the third book in that series. And I'll try to get it published and hopefully turn into a movie. In that character, the main character in that book, his name is Simon, he has a narrative, a backstory, a theme. He's got a purpose. And that becomes evident to the reader as you go along, just like it can become more obvious to you as you go along in your life. So you might want to think about, what is the plot or the theme of my life? Some people don't know, and if your life is a story. It's like a movie, and you're the star of it. What kind of movie is this? What kind of character are you in that movie? It's your story. Your life is your story. You're not living in someone else's story. It's your story. And you get to write it. And if you can follow that for a minute, even if you may not feel empowered like that, you may not feel in charge of your life, just follow that for a second and take my word for it. Given that that is possible, are you allowing someone else to write your story and to tell you who you are? Are you allowing someone else to tell you what the plot is of your own goddamn story? To tell you what the theme is of your own character, what the meaning is of the tale that you're telling, this tale called you. And if you just don't know, you don't know what the plot is of your own story. You don't know what the meaning is of your life. You don't know what the narrative is behind this tale that you're telling called yourself. Then it may just be a story that's going nowhere. When we have stories that don't really have a central theme and they have no plot, the whole time you're just kind of wondering, well, where is this going? I'll get another 10 minutes and I guess I'm going to turn the fucking channel because this is ridiculous. We get bored of stories like that. It's got to have a fairly obvious plot and theme. So as a practice, what you can do is contemplate this and write it out. Do a character profile of yourself. It's an amazing practice. A character profile, and you can look up the structure on Google if you want. It's just a writer's term for the characters in your book. If you're writing a book or a novel or a script, a screenplay, you're going to write a movie or any of these things, you're going to have to do a character profile. You say that, there's a mom and a dad and a son in your story. Well, who's the dad? What does he do for a living? Who is this guy? What kind of person is he? Is he Archie Bunker? Is he Ned Flanders? Who is he? Who's the kid? And those kind of backstories, and descriptions create this character. And think about yourself in this way. You may be telling yourself, creating yourself as a villain. And that's a bad way to write our story. You don't want to think of yourself as a villain. We want to think of ourselves as being right, as being righteous, virtuous, being on the path of good. That gives you a lot more meaning. Finding the narrative to your life gives it meaning. So when you're thinking about your life as a plot and a theme, think about myths. You know, like the old Greek mythology. We all learned that in high school. They had all these weird stories, and you kind of wondered, well, did people actually believe that crap? I guess before religion, they believed that, and you know, we have our religious beliefs, which kind of feel silly sometimes to most of us. But why would those stories still be around? The Greek myths are still around because, and they have, Greek mythology isn't the only mythology out there. There's Norse mythology too, which is right on time. You can check out some Norse mythology as well. But these stories are still around because they teach us about ourselves. So there's a lot of value in those stories, even though they're fantastic. And I don't discount mythology. There's this aspect of psychology that's kind of a battle. I'm no psychiatrist, but I know a little bit about it. There's the myth versus logic, mythos versus logos. And logic is reason, it's empirical, scientific proof. And myth are these stories that have deep-seated meanings and great truths of who we are as people, but it may be told in fantastic ways, right? Now, mythos versus logos gets pretty deep, and I could make a whole video, probably do a whole series just about that, and I'd have to study a lot for it. But when you're thinking of your plot and your narrative for your life, of who you are, who is this character called you in this story that you're writing? Make yourself out to be the hero. In mythologies, there's always stories of heroes, and the story of the hero isn't typically so obvious in the beginning of the story. The hero usually emerges at the end as being powerful through a journey of suffering. You have the Odyssey, the Iliad. So your life may not be perfect. You may be searching for happiness, desperately searching for happiness, wanting a meaningful life. Start thinking about your life as a story that you're writing. And give your character a theme, and give your story a plot, and identify as the hero through the hero's journey. The hero's journey is going to be an arduous adventure with hardships. The hero may spend time isolated on an island or in prison, but eventually he gets the queen and his throne back. When we create our theme of our lives using myth rather than logic, using mythos rather than logos, we can go beyond the empirical truths of science to the more nuanced, hidden truths within our mind that psychology and psychiatry, philosophy, religion, that all of that kind of tries to tap. So that's where they're both needed. You know, you can't fight with the myth versus the logic, just like you can't get rid of science, but there's a point when science stops being able to answer some of these questions of life, and that's when we turn to myth. Not just as a desperate way to have an answer, because we're control freaks and we have to have answers. We can't live in a world that's mysterious and unknowable. I mean, I guess some people do that. They're delusional. I'm talking about an inward journey, recognizing yourself as a hero. So as you go through your life, you don't feel so lost and alone. Your life becomes, in its overall context, this wonderful story of love, loss, struggle, wins, abundance, hunger, all these various aspects. That's what a good story has. You know, I mean, I'm writing novels. You want to add some ups and downs and bring your reader through a roller coaster ride. If I were just to tell you a fairy tale of wonderful happiness from beginning to end, it would be a boring story. So don't feel so down on yourself if you're going through hard times, but don't feel lost. If you feel like your life doesn't have meaning, you can give it meaning. This is what people do. People give themselves meaning in life. It's all food for thought. I could go on with this. I just touched this is just a drop in the bucket in this type of conversation. I just wanted to kind of enter this thought to people's minds, see what you guys think. Thanks for watching.